We don't care about spoiler alert. No, I don't give one rat's ass. Welcome to the Insiders. It's May. In May in France, we say you can do everything you like. Basically, it's a call out to April being a month where you need to wear a full ski jacket or a t-shirt. But in May, you can get the ski jacket off. You can get nude on the beach if it's a sunny day. So come on down, Matt. We want to see your rig.
Oh, get the rig out. It's one of those ones in England at the moment where I had some pictures pop up of like what I was doing last year, and it was as hot as. And the weather at the moment is like shorts out one day and then full coat and everything the next.
So maybe for the UK, we could modify the rule and say in every month of the year except for like 1 week in August,
Yeah,
wear your ski jacket.
exactly.
So,
And the waves are absolutely awful at the moment. It's like killing me. But
sorry, I had everyone today tell me how much fun they had, and I had a great little session with me old mate Englishman, Vaughny. We went up to, we won't call it a secret spot, but he said to me, I've been surfing this spot, don't tell anyone. And I said, I won't tell anyone, mate. And I parked there was 100 cars. We walked down the beach there. It wasn't even secret. It's just in the middle of Synos there. There
yeah,
was like, but it actually was really good fun. Only kind of knee to waist high, but he had a 9 broadsword, one of his favourite boards, and I had the fantastic acid hull.
oh, I've had a go on that. That's
It's.
it's
Did you
quick.
ever go on it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And you had
Much
like
fun. It takes a while to get used to it, but it is so much fun.
you had like no wax on it. I was
Ooh.
like all over the
I
shop.
was telling you, I've ordered a 6'9" Gracie. It's going to be a baby squash twin. Going to call it the Min Twin.
Yeah. I want to see
We'll
some
see.
photos. Yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah, we'll
teasing me
see.
with it.
We'll see. All right. Listeners, change your boards. We'll put this in the do and you don't at one stage, but you got to keep rolling, keep pushing it, keep getting yourself excited.
Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Hey, did you notice, Matt, that there's probably what I would consider the most interesting comp of the year about to start, Snapper.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. You think it's the most interesting comp of the year, but yes, it's due probably to start tonight, our time, I think, listening to the swell reports and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, I think it's gonna be sick. I'm actually really interested in the women's side of it because I'm gonna go early with this. But Sierra Kerr
Might be a
qualified
bit of a trend there, listeners, on Matt always being interested in the women's, but well,
and going
we won't
early
go, we
and
won't
going early.
we
Um,
won't delve into it.
but Sierra Kerr just won the trials and is in the main event, and I reckon she might win it with the
She's a real,
forecast.
yeah, she's a good crack at winning it. Who won it last year was Katie. She was 16, I think.
Did yeah, Kate because it was Katie Molly final, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Katie. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, Katie
I
Molly
dare say.
final.
I dare say, in some areas, Sierra's more flamboyant
Yeah,
and potentially a better tube rider. Potentially, I don't know. I think they're close.
she always seems to be. She's on a level. She's definitely on a level. So, but yeah. So,
You know,
what makes you
you
so
know,
excited for
I
it?
think it. Sorry, I cut you off there, Matt.
Ah, my bad. What
You
makes you
know,
so excited for Snapper?
I was just about to say that. Well, for listeners that don't know this because they're new to the sport or they live like an emu. Snapper was the first event of the world tour for I don't know how many years. Let's say 15 years. It's probably the most high performance wave on the planet, even more so than Kelly's wave pool.
Yeah,
Um, it was and still is a extremely crowded wave, and
very.
a lot of local surf it really good. A lot of people that aren't local surf it really good. I think everyone surfs it pretty good. And I think it's the hardest comp to pick a winner, especially if Toledo's not in the draw.
Yeah,
And obviously, Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson, retired, who those guys were always like the best because it's just a really a hard wave. Do you remember the year Gabriel Medina won it?
yeah. That was the year he won the. Was that his first title year as well?
Good question. I
Maybe.
don't know.
I do remember because I've got a few standout memories from Stan, but I miss it being on the tour. The Medina win's not as much a standout, so I'm kind of going off of your track a little bit. But I remember,
I just wanted to elaborate on that one because Medina won it doing 15 backhand Rios down the beach on 2 to 3 foot, while Parko sat behind the rock, which is one of the most dangerous sections in the world of surfing, I think, because it's this massive backwash comes in, jacks up, and if you're technically proficient, you can stab a drop with like most of them are airdrops, pull into the barrel and get spud out as you go past this. It's like a knuckle of sharp rock.
yeah,
So it's just incredibly technical. And if you want to be the alpha male or female or the silverback gorilla at snapper, you have to do that
yeah,
because otherwise you're not going to get a wave there because the biggest dog sits at the top.
yeah,
And if the biggest dog at the top takes off and goes into the rock, he'll never get another wave there. And Medina didn't do that. So it was actually quite strange. There was because the two surfers surfed the final differently.
yeah. Gave each other their space. I remember It's weird because I remember one of the best events I remember there actually got moved. I think it got moved to Kira, and Griffin Colapinto and Julian Wilson went mental.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
Because Kira's just a better wave.
Yeah, but
Sand bottom throwing run down the line barrel.
do you think
Incredibly good wave.
with Snapper, when it's so looking at the forecast, and this is an uneducated look at it, it's going to be a bit, if they do run it the days, it's going to be a bit wild one day and then like perfect.
I
But
think
yeah, go on.
I've kind of lost you a little bit there, Matt. Apparently our connection is unstable, but you said what? Can you repeat that?
So I was saying that looking at the forecast, and I'm not very educated on it, there's going to be kind of one early wild day and then it's going to be smallish. Do you think that plays into the hands or takes it out of the hands of the locals and gives other people a better chance?
I don't know if locals are favourites in this event at all. Huh? I think they would be if it was a CT, but there aren't really many locals in the draw, man. I can't remember who the top 10 of the Challenger Series are
Yeah,
from Australia, but I know none of the best dudes in there. There's like Nick Vassar, Parko, who's even though he's retired and everything, he's probably still the best guy, one of the best guys in the water. Mitch Parkinson, he's not in it.
yeah,
Mick Fanning is not in it. So I don't necessarily think it's so much a case of locals as opposed to guys that have been there, surfed a few comps, and are just incredibly technically proficient at smacking a mid-sized right-hand running wave, which is everyone.
yeah. It was just the reason I brought it up is because obviously, and this is not what the forecast is saying, but last year was quite wild there, and Sheldon Simkis came second, Cal Robson won it. I think Dylan Moffat was quite high in the rankings on that event. I think Jackson Baker maybe lost in the semis to Callum Robson. So it was quite Australian heavy last year. But I do think that a more groomed lineup is going to play into the hands of maybe other surfers with a bit more up the sleeves, like the Brazilians, maybe able to get some airs out.
I'm gonna because I've got cheat notes here. I'm gonna go down the list and tell you because I'm looking at the heat round. Like KO Belly could go well, but I wouldn't be calling him even close to a favourite at this event. You know who I think will go pretty good? Jackson Baker.
Yep.
Because he's grown up in Australia, would have surfed there a fair bit. Joel Vaughan, who's not from there, but he's actually that sort of suits his style, that sort of wave. Dylan Moffat, you mentioned, I reckon he'll go good there. I reckon Sammy Pupa will go really good. Kelly's in the draw. I don't know about Kelly. It depends how good the waves get. Chloe Andino's kind of been touted as a good chance there, and he should be, but I don't know. I just don't know if he can. And also, I really think that Morgan Sabilik will go really well too.
Morgs was one of my picks. I think Morgs will go really good.
And Rio. I think Rio will go good.
I don't think they're in it though.
Yes, he is. Rio's in it.
Are they definitely confirmed? Because
Yep.
I didn't think I didn't think people on the back half of the tour were
And
doing
they don't have to, but they can.
it. Okay. Oh, fair. Yeah, Rio would be.
Love to see Cowley Vast go really good too.
Yeah, I think maybe the smaller it is, the worse of a chance he's got. I think Joel Vaughan's a real good shout, and I think I also think um Michael Rodriguez, the Brazilian,
Yeah.
always seems to do good. But also, I think Kolohe might come out come out firing as well.
He might. It's going to be super interesting to see about Chloe. He could really just nail it, or he could just get nailed
True.
for the
Yeah,
whole season. You know what I mean? I think
100%.
from the sounds of things, he feels like the pressure's off and everything. Maybe as good
Maybe.
as that is for your happiness, it might work against you in dog eat dog world on the Challenger Series.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Tell you who could, but I just don't know about him, is Crosby Colapinto.
Big rig. Big rig if it's going to be smaller.
He could be too tall. That's it,
Mm.
couldn't he?
Yeah.
So he's good, but is he in the same league as Owen Wright, who won there, who was very tall? I
Yeah.
don't think he is yet.
It's difficult. The other one, I don't know if he's in it or not, but I really liked his surfing at Bells. That's Xavier Huxtable. I don't know if he's qualified or if he's in it.
Oh yeah.
But I
But I
really
don't
like
think
his
I
surfing.
don't think he's in it either, mate.
It'd be cool if he was. I think he'd do good. But yeah,
There is one guy that's really good, and he's from the sunny coast, Maroochydore even, Alistair Reginato, which I reckon he really could go good because, like, he comes second or third on the Aussie leg, and he will have surfed there a lot because he's from Sunny Coast, which is only 2 hours
yeah,
north. And I see Sheldon Simkus is in it, so
yeah,
he might have a good run at it. You'd think if he doesn't, it's because it's just groomed small conditions.
yeah, yeah. If there's any local knowledge or advantage to be had, he'll definitely make it work. Everyone says he's the prince of snap, isn't he?
It's not really. Well, do you know when it goes to? When does it go to? It goes from the 8th to the 13th. Now, as useless as it is, I'm looking at Magic Seaweed's weekly forecast now because I thought they were going to run yesterday, but it looked at it and it was just tiny. And
Yeah,
maybe now it's going to be today. Well, for them, it's tomorrow. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are all looking half decent.
yeah. That's
I
what
think
I
I
was
think they're
looking
on. I honestly, yeah, 12, yeah. It's going to be cooking. It's going to be.
at.
It looks like it's going to be cooking, but that's a Magic Seaweed forecast, which you can take with a. Is it what's the expression? A grain of
Take with a
salt,
pinch of salt. Yeah, something like that.
pinch of salt, bit of pepper, even.
Yeah. What about your predictions for women then? Do you think, like I've already said, I think Sierra's going to do real good.
Yeah, I would think that. I think that Macy Cullen, she surfs there nearly all the time. She lives there. She's
Yeah,
Sheldon Simkis's girlfriend, and she smashes it there. Like, it's kind of weird she got knocked off the tour.
Yeah, I like Macy Surfing. The other one as well, who's fallen off the tour and I don't think deserved to have, who I think is going to light it up, is Sophie McCulloch. I think she might.
Yeah, I think she'll go good there. And look, there's Erin Brooks. It'll be interesting to see
Oh,
how she goes.
yeah.
It's like a female John John, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely. Like, got that comparison, especially because what, she's 14 or 15 now.
Yeah,
First year
yeah.
of competing. Last year, she smashed it in Bali, and she always seems to, she seems pretty competitive whenever you see her in this, like the stab high stuff and that. So that'll be real interesting to see her there.
I'd back Kobe Enright as well. She's from there. She was one of the top dogs on the Aussie
Yeah.
tour. It's so funny seeing Sierra Kerr because her dad was from there, and then he moved to the States because his wife's American. So she grew up as a Californian kid, but then I think it got to a stage where she was a bit older where he just brought her back there for a few months every year because it was like her birthright.
Yeah.
And what a wave. Honestly, I surfed it when I was back there. I told you it was like 2 foot. It was just so fun.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that maddening crowd, but everyone says the same thing. That's why there is that maddening crowd.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's an impossible place to surf.
Is it talking about the wave? Because obviously, technically, it's man-made, right? Why aren't there more of them?
Wow.
Like, I
See,
don't,
if you looked at the coastline there, it's one side of the point is New South Wales D-Bar, and it's got a river mouth around the back, and there's a big peninsula, and then it hugs right back on itself. And there's just not many other setups like that along the coast where you can pump sand out from one side of a peninsula and the natural flow of water will take it around the other side. It's
yeah,
as simple as that. It gets pumped out from the south end, the other side of D-Bar, and then it just goes around there.
it's so crazy. Like that, it does that, but it's amazing. And
Like when my dad used to surf there, man, we're talking let's say it must have been the 60s. Would it have been the 60s? It could have even been late 50s. My dad surfed there and his uncle, and my uncle, his brother. And back then Snapper was just a fun cruisy wave, and Greenmount was the wave, right? Greenmount was
yeah,
the wave, and then Kira, because that's where the sand would end up. And when the swells, it would always miss Snapper. That's why Snapper got good, because the sand now gets pumped to there where the sand wasn't there before. It'd get washed further down into Green Mountain Kira.
yeah,
There are other good points there though. Like, it's just shorter, but
100%.
Currumbin, which is 15 minutes north of there, is insane, and Burley's insane, and then on the sunny coast there's a few. You got Moffat's headland. It's not really like that, and then Noose is just as good, and then you got another jewel in the Crown, which you need a 4-wheel drive to get to, Double Island Point, which is as good as all of them. It just gets less swell. Snapper kind of gets the most swell because it's the most southerly point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And generally, the swells come from the south, apart from cyclone swells. And I don't think they've got a cyclone swell coming through.
No, it doesn't look like it. So, if you had to pick now a winner and a dark horse for both sides, who you going?
Oh, I just can't pick one. I'm gonna say Jackson Baker, Macy.
Okay, and
And I really don't think Jackson's going to win, but he's just a name that comes to mind because there's just so many of them.
yeah,
There's just so many rippers in that thing, man. I'm telling you, rippers.
100%. I
I'd like
think
to say if it was a little bit bigger, I'm telling you, I watched. We were talking about Chloe before, who now he's been getting. It's amazing how much press he gets, isn't it?
yeah,
But you would have heard about he started up his own little video gang of all the privileged kids from San Clemente called 2%. And did you watch one of them?
Yeah. I watched quite a few of them, and he's been known for doing things like that. I think he quite enjoys like the feeling of giving back.
I think it's unreal. Look, actually, when you hear him and everything, he's a bit of a Christian, whatever, I think he says, but helping out younger crew, and he's got heaps of coins. So if he doesn't help them out, who's gonna?
Yeah, and actually, that like there's been a lot of focus on the Brazilian Storm all being together, and then there was a focus on like all the Australians on the Challenger Series coming together and stuff like that. But now that he's created almost the same thing for America and for that kind of San Clemente mob, because you've got like I think in America they won nearly every regional event to qualify. Like one of his crew won one, which is mad. Um, and I think they're all getting around each other and like kind of supporting each other as much as they can into these events, which I think is real cool. So I think he's I think he's good for that, but I think he might do well. Like my pick for winner, women's I've already said I think I'm gonna go Sierra, and then men's I'm going to go I'm gonna go Kolohe.
Yeah, it's a pretty big pick. So I brought him up as well because in one of those videos, there's this section with Griffin and Crosby
Yeah.
at Trestles, and I was just like, I don't know if I've seen as good a surfing as that from anyone ever at Trestles.
No.
Like literally, like Chloe's not as good as Griffin or Crosby, I don't reckon. And like, I saw that and thought, well, Griffin can easily, not easily, but he can beat Felipe there. Would have been
Yeah.
good to see Felipe on the same wave. It's always easy to say someone's ripping on that size wave and on a 4 foot right until you see Felipe take off after him.
If Griff makes top 5, he's a weapon.
Did you see some of that footage of him and maybe it's even on the Lost video? There's a new Lost video came out about his fish, 5'5",
Yeah, the 5'5".
9 1/4 century video, and holy moly,
Yeah, it's mad. Like there's some of the
top to bottom, front side, back side, Trestles, it just looks insane. I can't believe Trestles isn't on the tour either. It's Trestles and Snapper, but we talked about that the other day. You can't have them both on the tour. We need a left like that. Even though that's the good thing about Trestles is there's a hell left on it too.
technically Trestles is on the tour, but only 5 people only 10 people get to surf it. Yeah,
Yeah, so for me, it's not. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the final, but it is a great spot for everyone to go blow to blow on
definitely.
it.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, so one before we move on from Snapper, one thing is I wanted to ask is that over the years, you've seen some wild things go down at Snapper. Um, Freddie Pataccio riding his board into a rock is one of the best things I've ever watched. Do you reckon anything crazy is going to happen?
Um, no, huh?
No.
I just think it. I mean, I think people are ready to go, and I think the worst part of it is that they had a hell swell there a few weeks ago. So anything that people will see on the first day will just say, "Oh, it was better 2 weeks ago." That sort of
Yeah,
sucky crap. Until you get down to potentially around, even around a 64, it's just mindless. It's just like I'd I wouldn't want to be there. I'd rather watch it online. I wouldn't want to be there because you can't surf.
I'm
Fuck that.
calling. I'm calling. My wild thing's going to happen is Zeke gets an interference and loses.
Maybe. Or he just runs over someone. See, could go really good there, man. He suits that
Yeah,
wave too for a
and he
big biker.
could be fired up.
Muscular, no?
Yeah. So other than Snapper, there'll be a few poddies we chat about this, but and this is a little bit we might not even chat about it because it's a question that depends on your answer. Have you watched the new Stab in the Dark?
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about that. We're gonna try and get Bradley on this week. He's trying to join us actually in 20 minutes. We'll see if he can. He was getting ready to join us on the phone, and his boss's sister walked in the door. Belly's sister walked in the door, so she's here. She's here in France
Oh
visiting.
man.
And he said to me 20 minutes. I said, "Oh, good, because I think we can talk about this at least 20 minutes before he comes on. And if he doesn't, we'll bring him to you in the next episode, listeners."
Yeah. So before we get into like technicalities and stuff on it, I want to say firstly that I think it's so good that they've done it in, and this is kind of obvious, but I think it's so good that they've done it in Portuguese with subtitles because it's really nice to actually hear someone properly, like a Brazilian, properly like express what he's saying without it being really broken English. And their English is incredible, but it's so much better to hear it in Portuguese.
Of course
Which
it is. It's way better. Did you ever watch the Casa de Papel on Netflix?
what's that? No, no.
I think it's called The Money Trap. It's these 8 Spanish crazy bank robbers break into the mint in
Right.
Madrid and start printing their own money. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's insane. And I watched the first episode in English dubbed, and it was
Yeah.
horrific. And I quickly switched it over to Spanish with English subtitles, and it was 100 times better. Because I mean, I don't speak Spanish, but I can understand a few little things. And even if I didn't, it was just so much better to hear how they talk and then have it translated anyway, because you get it better translated when you see it written if you are English and you can read, than have them their mouths look weird, when they're talking.
Yeah.
And you don't want Italo going, yes, man.
Exactly. It makes it so hard to watch when it's like type thing.
And it's
But
so good, like you said. I think the best thing is the whole surf world. You can't pretend that it's like nice Aussie or white dudes, Anglo-Saxons, even though Stab is an Anglo-Saxon surf internet page. So it makes sense that they start with their own blood first. Like, they're not a Brazilian web page, are they?
no,
They're
no,
not
yeah.
Japanese. They're not Chinese. They're not Hawaiian. They started in Sydney and then they moved to California. So it makes sense that they push their own crew first. But if they live up to their credo, which is it's a high performance website basically. The Brazilians have been leading the high performance surfing for the past 10 years, haven't they?
Oh, 100%. And I agree that, Stab's audience is like mainly that kind of American or Australian. But I guess my point is like if you're using a Portuguese surfer, let him speak about it in that language.
Brazilian,
Well,
not
yeah, sorry,
Portuguese.
Brazilian surfer,
Portuguese
sorry.
speaking.
Um, I do think though that it's mental that he can't, like if someone blindfolded me and put 10 boards in front of me and asked if they were PU or EPS, I reckon I'd go 10 for 10. Like
Yeah, PU or EPS. Yes.
PU or EPS. And he couldn't tell if it was PU or EPS at all. And I thought that was crazy.
Maybe he just doesn't care. You know what I mean? When he picks up his boards, he just looks like he's just a flittering
Yeah, I mean,
ball.
he looks like he's literally never drunk anything other than an energy drink.
Actually, but when he was communicating everything he said, I thought he was incredibly articulate.
Same.
I
Yeah.
thought it was unreal.
And I liked how like honesty was like
I thought he
when
was funny.
not spoiler alert or anything, but Matt Byler's making the board in the wrong fin boxes, and then how soft that board was scary. And he kind of like just straight up was like, should have read the email kind of thing, like about the fin boxes and stuff. I thought he came across really well. I just was really surprised that he couldn't just literally flick. You can flick a board. I got board here. You flick a board, that's a PU sound, like kind of thing. Like it's just weird that he
For
did.
people that don't touch as many boards as Matt or I did back in the day and still kind of do a fair bit anyway, is epoxy just has got a different click to it when you tap it with your finger.
Yeah,
It's kind of a more brittle,
it pings.
dense. It pings, exactly. Where a PU board will resonate a little bit lower and it will absorb your little finger tap with your fingernail. So then that same exact same process happens in the water, where the epoxy, because it's a little bit denser and pingier, will ping and fizz in turns, which why people, when you get on an epoxy after not surfing one, like if it's similar to what you usually ride, you go wow, and it's like this crazy fast jizz. The only problem is on the highways, man, apart from I've nearly gone 10 out of 10 on every time I get epoxy within 5 surfs. I either break it or someone runs over it. I run over it. One time was a fucking branch in the water, drop it, whatever. They just get smashed. Huh? And also they don't feel as good the second or third surf. And as soon as it's bigger, apart from Kelly and the dudes riding stretches, for some reason they don't feel as good either in the water because they don't seem to absorb
No, they're not.
power as much.
Yeah, they don't really dampen the chop and they don't sit you in it as much. You want to be like almost in the water rather than on the water when it's bigger, especially.
Like I don't think that I don't I don't think any of them ride epoxies
No.
in the pool, for example. Now they will ride them at, I think, what they said, like Huntington Beach or something like that, if it's 1-2 foot.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd even see them ride them in the pool now that they've been in the pool a few times and worked it out.
Most people won't. I reckon Felipe will ride that dark arts thing, which is carbon EPS.
Yeah,
But
he's a special case. He's like Kelly as well.
yeah,
No one's got his.
Kelly doesn't ride EPS boards. If you see Kelly's boards, you can
Yes,
actually
he
see
does.
a
Yes,
painted
he does.
stringer.
He
Yeah,
doesn't ride them all the time, but he still rides them.
loads
For
of his
sure.
boards have the painted stringer, and it's actually a PU board, especially in Hawaii. All of his Greg Webbers are not EPS.
Is your name Kalani? Are you his girlfriend? Do you live
Nah,
with him?
nah,
You
but
don't
I'm
look
not
like that.
dumb. I'm not
But you
dumb.
do know that he doesn't ride epoxies. Or are you just
Like,
spruiking?
no, I know that obviously he rides some epoxies, but like his brand, Slater Designs, do not make any board other than EPS. But he
Correct.
rides boards that are definitely PU.
Yeah, well, he'd be mad not to, wouldn't he?
That's what I'm saying. But
So the first episode, we don't care about spoiler alert. No, I don't give one rat's ass if we ruin things for people. Sorry, guys, if you haven't watched it yet, we can watch it. The first episode, who was it again?
so
Axel Lorenz,
Pyzel,
Pyzel,
Timmy Patterson, and Pukas, Axel Lorenz.
and Pyzel won with Geordie Dane, was it?
Pyzel won with Geordie and Dane, yes.
Who won with Mick?
Mick was lost.
Okay, you sure? Yeah.
Lost. No, sorry, it was CI. It was Britt Merrick.
You sure?
100% Britt Merrick.
Sure that wasn't last year? Who did it last year? Jack Robbo.
Jack Robbo, CI won again. That was their second win. But yeah, because the Spine Tech, it was Mick crowned the Spine Tech winner.
And Julian Wilson, it was DHD.
Yes.
And then there was a triple one, which I can't remember, which was Mick, Geordie, and Dane, and Mick busted his knee.
And that was the one where Lost Driver 3.0 won. Driver 2.0
That's
won.
another one for any listeners who are still pretending to be emus. This website's tab, they do a thing where a good surfer gets 9 boards so that he doesn't know who it is and has to pick which one goes the best.
Yeah.
And this time it's Italo Ferreira, who's ex-world champion last year, number 2, Brazilian goofy foot aerial wizard.
Yeah.
And
And
backhand, weirdest backhand in the world, but efficient.
yeah, definitely. And very, very good.
Let's be critical of his backhand. He goes as vertical as he can. He smacks the lip, but when he does a backhand re-entry carve, he kind of, excuse the pun, stabs it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of stabs it. He does that weird stabby thing.
I definitely think he's better going backside than he is front side. But
Oh,
and that
I
was
don't know. I just don't think. I don't know if he ever thinks that he should do a turn come front side.
yeah. His style is mad and the way he serves is so different. It makes it so good and so interesting. And I think I sent it
So
to you on the
where's that wave that they're doing the tests on it? Is that island
yeah, I think it's an island in Brazil. Yeah.
spelled with an N and Brigado or something like that?
Sounds exactly like that. I think that's how it's pronounced.
I
But
don't think we got Brazilian listeners, and if we do, I'm not taking a piss out of you guys. I just don't know how you pronounce it.
I said it to you on the phone. I think his watching him do that is makes me I want to watch Italo free surfing. I want to watch Italo edits. I don't want to watch him in events anymore. I think he would be better in edits and I would watch him and like him more free surfing than I would shackled in an event.
Yeah, but I think he likes to be shackled in an event. He likes competing. He likes winning. Otherwise, he wouldn't still be there. And that's why I think he looks stressed all the time because he just fucking wants to win. And I reckon he started getting underscored as well, like Felipe. I think both of them got underscored. But one
Yeah.
stage, I think maybe it's because they were overscored. Or who knows?
I think it's just a little
I
bit
don't
of
think
like
anyone can understand judging.
what flavor does the judging what do the judges want to see at that time?
Yeah, like at the moment, it seems like they want Ethan. Huh?
Yeah,
I
they
don't
want
think
back to
Jack.
rail surfing.
I don't think Jack was overscored last year. I saw if you watched, was it Make or Break where they were whinging about all
Yeah.
the scoring? I think they got
Italo
used to
storms the
winning.
tower.
Yeah, I think they got used to winning, and because all of a sudden they weren't winning, like nearly every human in the world, their ego couldn't handle it and was telling them it's not me that's not
Yeah,
ripping,
yeah,
it's the judge.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you need a 7 and the person needs a 7, it's the last wave of the heat, and he takes off from the wave and does kind of like the best effort of the heat. He should get the 7, shouldn't he?
For sure, for sure.
So, which board do you reckon looked the best for him in that first one?
I definitely think the Pyzel looked the best.
Is that the one he picked?
Yeah,
Yes.
that is the one he picked. Yeah, I thought the Pukas looked pretty good until it creased. Um, yeah, but I definitely think the Pyzel looked the fastest.
And the other one again? I
Timmy
can't believe
Patterson,
I
his
can't
own
remember it.
model.
His own model, but his own model done by the boys in Brazil. Or was
No,
that
the
one
opposite.
actually Timmy? No, that
That's what I
one
was going to say
wasn't.
to you. Is the Timmy Patterson that he was on, shaped by Timmy? He seemed to think that the rails weren't as good as the Brazilian Ghost Shaper, who's been making boards for him for years. But at the same time, I kind of was like, well, it's just a sticker almost, or like a decal at the end of the day. If he's developed that board, the Stoked model with the Brazilian guy, then it's just got the Timmy Patterson decal on it.
Yeah, that's how it is around the world, folks. Huh? Multinationals, globalization. That's why I used to. There was a great expression of mine at Euroglass to Bradley, and I don't think Britt Merrick will listen to our episodes either. He's like, fucking hate Channel Islands because it was just McDonald's, really. But he'd still use it; it'd still come out of the machine the same. So it's a pre-shape, and then there's so many different variables that goes into it. Like the pre-shape could be exactly the same one as what come out for Timmy in a head factory, but just the air temperature of the glassing room,
Yeah.
the
Definitely
sander,
boxy.
all those different things that Italo's got used to. And, they go through a lot of boards. They just say he surfs 100 of that dude's boards a year. That factory's boards too, not just that dude.
Yeah,
It's going to feel different to one coming from somewhere else, full stop.
100%. But I thought it's funny how his own model didn't get through, but cool as well.
Yeah, it's just a factory thing, Matt.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's why when we speak to Christian, I'm going to speak to him. One of the things I want to kind of ask him about is like, obviously, I think he only has one ghost shaper around the world, and like, I just want to quiz him a little bit about like how much the decal with his name on it means to him versus, say, for example, um, a brand that have boards made like Lost, for example, who've got licensees around the world and other people like that. I just kind of want to quiz him on that a bit because I think that'd be super interesting.
Well,
But
he sounds like he might be able to join in with us. So I'm gonna send him some codes and we'll see if technology works. Huh?
all right.
So basically, what was I going to say is how many crew were on that beach where Talo was surfing? It looked pretty fun, didn't it?
It did look fun. It looked cool, and no doubt he probably gets a crowd. I also wanted to say about it. There's a guy who works at Stab who does all of their like graphics and their titles and stuff. His name's Shinya Dolby. His stuff is he never misses. It's always so sick. Like the production of it and the presentation of it, how they made it look like it was a video game when because he surfs like he's a video game surfer. I thought it was so sick. It's yeah, like the deep things like that. Shinya Dolby is so good.
It's funny how so many bad reviews came out of Brazil, always about the competition, but it actually just looks like such a sick place to go for like even a surf trip and stuff. And when what's his name, Ashton Goggins went there, it looked like a great place as well.
Yeah, yeah. In the Red Bull No Contest, I thought it looked amazing.
I reckon you wouldn't want to go anywhere crowded. You just
Nah,
wouldn't. You just melt, wouldn't you?
bit
Like there's
far,
no way in the world you could not stand out, me or you or any
far out. Yeah,
Anglo-Saxon. They'd see you coming, you wouldn't even get a wave left, right, and centre. And what could you do? Have a fight? Come on, mate, get off me wave.
yeah. 6'3" and as white as anything with a mullet. I think I'd stick out pretty badly.
Are you going to call an early winner on this?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Who are you backing in to win? I'm going to go. Far out. I want to say Christian. I reckon Christian is going to win it, but um, I don't think it'll be a top dog. But I think it might be Pyzel.
Oh, I was going to say Channel Islands. And I don't know why. I just think that those places get so used to making boards for all these different guys that they've got boards that are more homogenous. Is that a word?
I don't know, but it sounds good.
Homogenous. I think it means something like it's just will fit everyone.
Yeah, one size fits all.
Yeah. It's there we go. Homogenous of the same kind. If all jobs and workers were homogenous,
Jeez.
which as soon as you're jumping out of something, it's like you can go into McDonald's anywhere in the world. This used to be the thing I used like. So my brother said to me when we went to Bali, and it stuck with me, and it was the same. Like, you don't want to be a kooky traveler that goes to McDonald's, right? But 95 was it? 95 when you're in Bali. We went to Bali for 2 weeks, and I'd never been overseas. And after 10 days, he'd had the squirts, and then I got the squirts. And then you get past it and everything, and you just gun shy because your stomach's not used to that sort of food.
Yeah.
So you go to McDonald's because you know what you're going to get. And I think it's a similar thing with surfboards. And like no one will have made more surfboards for pros than well now it's Sharp Eye. So you got those four. You got Channel, Sharp, and basically they're the ones that make the most. because they can afford to give them away. It's not because they're better than Bradley or Neil Purchase Jr. or some of those hell shapers on the Goldie or California or anything else, because they just can't afford to give like 200 boards away because they only make 600 boards. So why would you give a third of your production away to a pro?
100%, exactly. And also half the other side of it is though is that ghost shaper thing. Like how many sharp eyes are coming out of the Gold Coast factory where there's, I've forgotten his name, but he's a real good shaper. And how many European Lost boards and Channel Islands boards are coming out of the Ilatu factory with a ghost shaper. It's different, and he could really write one off. I have to say as well, we're stabbing the dark. Hayden for Hayden Shapes, Hayden Cox, he's got to stop entering, man. He gets absolutely slaughtered. Geordie Smith said it was like the only board he's ever managed to bog both rails at the same time and called it a waste of a tail pad.
You
Italo
see, he wants to be funky too, even though his biggest selling board around the world is a homogenous, fat-nosed epoxy with carbon rails, so it's light, so anyone can ride it. But when he does that sort of stuff, obviously he wants to go a little bit left field, doesn't he?
Yeah, but like the Holy Grail is one of the worst high performance boards I've ever seen and felt in my life.
Yeah, it looks mongrelish, but do you know anyone that ever surfed it?
Yeah, I know a few people who surfed it, and
And what did they think?
it went up for sale pretty quickly after, which is funny.
Okay, Bradley's off till tomorrow night. I just don't think he can get it together. But it gives us time to slag him off. I reckon, Matt, you think he'll go good? I got a feeling that I'll tell him. I got a feeling Italo might find his boards a little bit sticky.
Mm.
Christian's a really, really refined bottom end of the board shaper. He likes really, really refined parts. He used to struggle trying to make boards for Geordie or Dane or any of them because they're big dudes.
Well, it was
Where his whole world of shaping performance boards was revolved around what he would make for Kelly, right?
yeah.
And then he shaped a lot for Jeremy. So smaller guys that would like thinner, refined boards. So then when he had to do something bigger, he didn't. I don't know if he couldn't
Italo's a
adapt.
small guy.
Yeah, he is too.
But
Yeah,
the
but
funny
it's
thing,
like they said he likes kind of flatter boards, which aren't Radleys, which are a little bit
yeah,
more curvier and sucky with the concaves at the back.
the funny thing with Christian is, yeah, he literally tapped up Leo and said, "Look, I think it's Italo. What's he like?" And apparently Leo is like, he likes him flat and fat, and Christian just didn't listen and made him a thin, rocketed out thing. So we'll see how it goes. He might.
Yeah, it's his model of one. I'm super like frothing on watching this, and like surfers around the world. If you've worked with Shaper before, well, I worked a lot with him. Not worked with like a pro or anything, but I don't know.
You spent
I've had
13
probably
years
more
working with
boards off him than most people would have had off Shaper because I used to get them free at the factory. And I've known him for 17 or 18 years, so I just really want to see how it goes. It's like if your nephew is in the Olympics.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know him way more than I know him, and I love Christian to bits, and I'm like absolutely frothing for him, and I just want him. Even when his face pops up on the little thing, I just can't help but laugh. But I want to see him well.
Who else? Who are the other shapers? Like, who are the ones that aren't?
So there are 13, which were Hayden. I'm doing this off the top of my head as well. So Hayden Shapes,
Good, aren't you?
Matt Biolas, DHD, JS, Britt Merrick, Bradley, Ricardo Martens,
Who's
Timmy
that?
Patterson, Pyzel, Pukas, Keith Turnbull from KT Boards, James
Where's
Chill from
that? Where's
Chile,
KT from?
Hawaii. He's a Maui. He shapes Kai Lenny's boards, and then there's
What
James
about Ricardo
Chill,
Martins? Where's he from? RM Design.
Brazil. Yeah,
Brazil.
James
Okay, cool.
Chill, and there's one more. Who have I forgotten? James Chill,
Marcio Zuvi, Sharp Eyes,
Sharp
and
Eye. That's the
James
one I
Steele,
forgot.
Chile.
Yeah, There you go. 12 out of 13 is not bad.
So this week on Friday, we got Channel Islands, Brett Merrick, Bradley, JS. See, that's a really good episode, man, with Matt Biolis. And dudes, you can get a free month's trial subscription at the moment if anyone hears this. I heard that. So you can watch it. It's not secret. Get on there, get your free month, and then don't pay them anymore if you don't want it.
Yeah, 100%. It's real good. I think it's definitely worth it.
I'm looking at all the numbers there. There's no way in God's name I'd be able to pick any of them. I reckon I'd be able to pick the Bradley probably. I'd feel pretty gutted if I couldn't.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know. Look at him. He's just an absolute juggernaut. Anyway, enough of that. We'll talk to Bradley tomorrow night about this. What I wanted to ask you, Matt, is it's a big loaded question, and I don't like us to get too deep in politics, but what do you think about the transsexual rule that the WSL, it's not just WSL, across the board sports, where a transgender, an ex-male turned female gets to compete against girls in their same division? What do you think about that?
I'll be completely honest, and this is a boring answer. I don't really have an opinion on it too much because I'm not super educated on the actual finite rules and if there's other things to be put in it. And I think that what I did look into it, and like I say, I'm really uneducated on it, but what I did look into it is the person that there was someone who won a longboarding competition, and it all kicked off. That same person had lost in like early rounds of a couple of other competitions leading up to that. So clearly it shows like potentially there's not advantage, and you're up against the ocean half the time anyway. So yeah, I don't really feel safe commenting on it because I don't know enough about it, and I think it's such a weird thing.
And Bethany came out against it.
Yeah,
I don't want to get too involved in it. I think it's a really rare occurrence. What I do honestly think, though, is I don't think ever once that a male or a female will think to change their sex for an advantage in sport.
No.
And if they do, that one really desperate whatever, if they do, I don't see a huge difference between that and a female or a male getting on the steroids and doing all that sort of thing as well.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say is
actually, no, it's like 1,000 times more extreme than that. Even.
Yeah, exactly. If you think that someone could basically, if you think that someone would go from woman to man or man to woman for a competition, just go and do some research on what you have to go through to be able to do that.
Fucking heavy, man. And that's why I always felt so sympathetic, I think, for these people. Is it's a massive decision. It's not like you're coming home and saying mum and dad or to your mates or whatever, and you're doing that and everyone's going, whoa, wicked. Oh, that's great. Stoked. Always thought you were gonna. Or you're not getting a whole lot of support from anywhere. Hopefully you got a few best friends. Hopefully your parents are very open, understand. It's a lifetime of conflict and pain, and I just can't see how winning a surf comp is going to make that all better for you.
That's same. And if that person has gone through that because of everything else in their life, and their one thing that is their like for all of us, their one thing is their escape and their release is the ocean and going for a surf and expressing themselves that way, then go do that. Because like if you're a person that's going to deny someone that, then you're a bad human.
Yeah, well, it's just a such a tough thing, isn't it? It's just a tough thing. But I just wanted to know what your opinion is, because it's getting a lot of press. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think there's a lot of people who honestly, the reason mainly I don't want to talk too heavily on it is because I feel like I don't want to be
I said
like,
people get really angry about it.
yeah, and I don't want to be like jumping on a bandwagon just to get like, I'm not going to bait this title of like our opinions on trans surfing. Like when people are really using it as
We're
bait and
not
clickbait.
putting opinions out to your listeners, is what we're trying to say. I just wanted to hear your take on it, because
Yeah, no,
I've been reading
yeah,
a lot about it, and I figured that I guess everyone listening to us will have their own opinion, and communication is the best tool we've got on the planet.
yeah, definitely. And also and communicate with other
Sometimes.
people to educate yourselves. Like, don't be a hard-headed freak. Just, listen. If you listen to more and more people, you will educate yourself more and more, and you'll become actually more understanding to something that you might not have ever been, um, like in the situation to handle until that point. Like just everyone has been through something you haven't, and if you listen to that person, you'll become a better person for it.
Well, I'm a parent, and like you could be staunchly against so many things, like your children. Like you could be staunchly against gay, you could staunchly against transsexuals, you could be staunchly against golf, you could be staunchly against carpenters, electricians, you could really be aggressively staunchly against surfboard salesmen, huh? And then if your son or daughter comes home and says, look, I want to be a surfboard salesman, and you say, get the fuck out of the house,
Yeah,
huh? And all of a sudden, because all of a sudden you're faced with it, and you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been so against it, because it can just happen to anyone. You can be a born surfboard salesman, and that's what you got to be, even though your father wants you to be a painter.
yeah.
My other thing I wanted to chat to you about, Matty, is I just read an epic thing on Beach Crit. Is Den Haag, and I know a couple of guys. One of my clients used to, and still probably does have a surf school there, where now they've put in a €50 parking fine, not fine, fee for 1 minute or all day, because they don't want anyone
Where?
driving cars. It's Scheveningen, right? It's the Dutch surf capital beach.
Oh, okay, right.
So if you they want everyone to ride bikes or walk. That's what they want people to have their primary transport to be. So they
Yeah,
put a $50 cup. If you don't live there, I don't even think if you don't live there. If you want to park there, it's $50.
far out.
So just say you live 30K away, which isn't that far in Holland. It's quick. So you live halfway between Scheveningen, which is beach, and Amsterdam. So maybe it's like a 1 hour drive. So just say you work in Amsterdam and you surf in Scheveningen, and you live halfway between. If you want to surf in Scheveningen, we'll say it again, or let's just call it SV. If you want to surf in SV once a day, that's $350 parking a week, right?
Yeah,
So basically, it's saying locals only. Because
yeah,
if
but
you
I
can't
still,
walk to the beach, you got to pay $50
it's pretty harsh,
parking.
isn't it? Because
It's
like I'm like 15,
heavy.
I'm 15 minutes from the beach, but it's motorway and stuff, so I couldn't walk or bike.
Yeah, so we got €350 a week for your surfing habit.
That's crazy. I don't.
You'd want to be hoping that surf didn't cook for like 4 months straight, which
Yeah,
which before would have been your biggest dream.
I'd probably just risk a ticket.
I'm wondering if this isn't just going to get upended. Someone's going to go and throw a brick through the window of the mayor.
Or yeah, or every parking ticket
It's a woman.
person's going to
Could have
get.
been a man. Could have been anyone, but it's a strange one. And like, here's one I didn't think of, because obviously as a surfer, you only think about yourself. Is one of the shop owners said, "What are you talking about? Like, there's heaps of empty flats here, the holiday flats here, and we want people to come to our shops to buy
Yeah,
stuff."
Yeah, that's the same for you. Like, think about if they put a huge fee near the car parks all around your gaff, you'd be fuming.
Well, I'd stash my boards at the cafe and ride my electric bike there. I could get away with it,
No, I
but
mean,
it'd
but
be.
your customers
Oh
drive.
yeah, yep.
You'd feel the effects. It's a bit of a weird one,
It's a bit of a weird one. We'll see. That could be where the planet's going.
maybe. But then, yeah, well, it means I need to buy somewhere near a surf spot quickly then, because
All right. Hit me with some do's or don'ts, Matty, so we can get our show on the road and get some shut eye.
okay, cool. So, it was Stab in the Dark inspired actually my do, and it was inspired by the fact that Italo kind of said that his Timmy Patterson made by Timmy wasn't as good as his normal ones. So it's like, if you have the ability, if you're lucky enough to live in somewhere where there's a local shaper, and a good local shaper, not like a backyard guy, but a good local shaper, like do get
Someone
a
who pays his
board.
taxes.
Yeah, do get a board shaped by someone like local to that sport or local to where you are. Like, if you're in France, go and get a Bradley, go and get a Fipsy or a Gracie. Um, if you're in Cornwall, go and see Luke Hart or Nigel Semmons, because those
And
guys,
there's plenty of good like French shapers around here too. I
yeah.
don't personally know any of them. Sorry, listeners, but
But even Rob
there
Vaughan,
are.
and Tristan and stuff for your alternative stuff, it's still locally tried and tested, and
Yeah,
they've got that
locally
knowledge
made.
and locally made. So that's my do try and get yourself a locally made board to where you're surfing if you're going on a trip. Um, don't I don't even know. Yeah.
No, no, don'ts.
Don't don't have any hope of any decent surf if you live on the south coast of England for the next 9 months now. And I'm just gonna go cry.
I already said it, do, and I can't remember what it even was.
I know what your do was change your boards.
Yeah, change your boards. Change your boards. Don't be stagnant. Get your boards. Roll your boards. Keep your favourites if you've got a favourite. But life's not meant for collections. Huh?
Yeah.
Get them out there, because it's not good either as you sit on 50 boards. Get them out there. Let them have a new lease of life and get yourself a new one.
Yeah,
Keep the money.
exactly.
Keep the economy going.
Yeah.
Don't forget to screw your fin screws in.
Oh, that happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah, we rented the Nick Grace demi boot to some guy the day before yesterday, and he come back with a single fin. It was a thruster. So
So you lost two.
two of my fins are out there in the ocean.
Oh no.
Wasn't my fault, man.
No, it's not
Well,
your fault.
we dropped the board. It got dinged. They gave the Terry to fix it. They took the fins, I don't know. Well, it kind of was my fault, but I'm saying it wasn't. It didn't. It didn't take. I didn't unscrew them.
Did you?
That's
I was going to
all.
say, did you give him the board fins in, screwed in?
Yeah, I gave it to the surf shop dude, and he didn't check it
Ah,
then.
Coke.
I can't blame him. I can. I just can't blame him to his
Trust.
face.
So don't. So the
It's
do
the
is
biggest one. That's a really important one.
don't trust
But
anyone.
is your fin screws. It's a massive one. It's a
Yeah.
massive one. Don't screw them too hard either. Like one of my other boards the other day, I wanted to change the fins. I noticed I had to go all the way to my other down to work to get like like a special. It's like a star
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
piece. You know what I mean? Because once you
Yeah.
break the thread,
It's almost like extra grip. It re-grips it, kind of thing.
yeah. So get rid of that like nub screw as well. I don't keep it and think, oh, I'll just always have that special
Yeah.
piece to be able to screw it in. And I took it out and threw it in the bin.
Mm.
Screws, don't screw them in too hard. Don't screw them in too hard. Always check they're screwed in.
Yeah. Screw 'em in slowly, slow and deep.
Slow and deep.
That's
We'll
how
leave you with that one.
we'll leave you with slow and deep.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.